Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Math Puzzle Crash Course. I have a really simple puzzle here. I don't even know if I would call it a puzzle, but I'm just going to put this one out there and see how well everybody does with this one. But the problem is 5 times 3 times 8 times 12 times 0 times 50. What does that equal? This one should be a fairly easy one. The immediate response should be 0. And the reason is anything times 0 is 0. So the fact that there was this times 0 stuck in the middle of this problem means that you should get 0. Now, I'm going to say this because I've seen some comments where I was like, well, I figured it out after the first 5 seconds of you telling me I didn't need another 10 minutes. So what I'm going to say is if you already got 0 as your answer, the rest of this video is probably not for you. And yes, I do see I capitalized the when I wrap the text around. So there's a mistake. All right. All right. So if you got 0, you can move on and look at some other videos if you want to. But if this is confusing you, please stick around and I'll do my best to explain. So let's start out with about the properties of 0. A little bit of history. It's a little bit muddled, but it's believed that there's the mathematician Fibonacci, I believe. I'm not sure I have the pronunciation right. I think he might have also been referred to as like Leonardo of Pisa. I'm not sure on that one. That's just from memory. But he brought back info on the number 0, along with some other Arabic numerals from his travels across North Africa. And this was around the year 1200 AD. So that was about the time I believe that 0 was really brought into the Western world or Western civilization. But the history goes back a lot further than that, and so far back that there's some uncertainty to how far back this knowledge was known. Some place the earliest discoveries back to Babylon, somewhere around 300 to 400 AD range, somewhere in that time range, and then moving on to India. I've seen some other accounts where they mention maybe the 3rd century AD, even in India. So, not really sure on that, but we just know that it's very old. Couple things about 0. There's some properties. One you may have heard is called the addition property of 0, which really the description is that a number does not change value when adding or subtracting 0 from that number. So in other words, 8 plus 0 is still 8. 15 plus 0 is still 15. 9 minus 0 is still 9. 1 million minus 0 is still a million. So if you're adding nothing and you're subtracting nothing, you're still going to have the same number. Now, there's the multiplication property of 0, which means 0 times any number equals 0. So 8 times 0 is 0, 15 times 0 is 0, 9 times 0 is a 0, 1 million times a 0 is still 0. And the reverse is true. 0 times 8 is 0, 0 times 15 is 0, 0 times anything is 0. 0 times a million is still 0. So another thing to know is 0 is often referred to as the additive identity, meaning that adding 0 to any number results in the same number. Just like we said, 8 plus 0 is 8. So also 1 is the number 1 is referred to as the multiplicative identity, which means multiplying any number by 1 results in the same number, like 8 times 1 is 8. So if 8 times 1 is 8, then definitely 8 times 0 is not 8. But here's something that I've seen as a response from a lot of people. But if I have 10 cookies and I multiply them by 0, my 10 cookies don't just disappear. Come on, don't pull my leg. Well, unfortunately, many are confused about the similarities and the differences between multiplication and addition. There I capitalized between again. There's a problem with the wrapping here, sorry. Uh, if somebody's going to point it out, I know. Whoa, you may know math, but you don't know how to capitalize and not capitalize. All right, whatever. So, unfortunately, many are confused about the similarities and the differences between multiplication and addition. If multiplication is telling us how many times to add a number, then if we're to add it 0 times, then we have nothing to add. 0 means nothing, right? So think of it this way. 5 times 5 is telling us to add 5 times. 5 times 5 equals 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. And what does that equal? It equals 25. 5 times 0 is 0. 0 times 5 is 0. Adding 5 0 times is still nothing. Adding 0 5 times is still nothing. It's 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. And that equals what? It equals 0. I could sit there and add zeros all day, and I'm not going to get anything. I'm going to have nothing. If you like food, if you like donuts, if I give you 12 bags of 0 donuts, you get no donuts. If I give you 0 bags of 12 donuts, you still don't get any donuts. So, yeah, let's pretend we hire Lazy Sally to clean our house for $10 per hour. So Sally works 0 hours. How much money do we owe Sally? Well, let's see. $10 per hour times 0 hours should be $0, not $10, right? So I hope this has been helpful. I hope for some that may be confused on multiplication by 0, I hope that jogs some memories. There's nothing new about it. I've actually run into a lot of cases where people are very confused about multiplying by 0. And the basic response there is someone says, well, if I have 50 of this, if I have 50 marbles and I times them by 0, I still have my 50 marbles. So there's a confusion over what multiplication is. Multiplication is telling you how many groups of something you have. You might have 50 marbles, but if you put them in a group of 0, that group is 0. There's nothing there, right? So, like if I have 10 sandwiches and I put them in 0 bags, well, I've got 0 bags of sandwiches, there's no bags of sandwiches. It's really about the grouping. So I hope that clears up some of the confusion. And I just want to finally say the Math Puzzle Crash Course is on YouTube and Facebook, and I appreciate any likes, I appreciate any shares, and I appreciate any subscriptions. I'm hoping to try to help people on some basic math issues. That's my goal. So thank you and have a great day.